Welcome, everybody. Do you know that the power to heal is within you? Do you know that you have the power to heal others? The power to heal yourself? Now, before we go on, let's say that no person has the right or power to heal. God, Great Spirit, Divine Life Force, Universal Truth, that's the healer that works through us. So when I say you have the power to heal, I'm suggesting that you have the power to be a conduit or a vessel through which Great Spirit works. So I want to talk to you today about your 5 authorities to heal. Now, some people say, well, who am I to heal? I have problems. I'm still working on myself. And when I teach my life coach training course, we ask people at the beginning of the course, what fears or concerns do you have about being a life coach? And a lot of people say, who am I? I'm still working on myself. I have problems. I have issues. I'm not an enlightened master. How can I help? Well, today I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can do that. I'm currently teaching a course for people who want to become professional seminar leaders. And we had a lesson called Your Authority to Teach. And I'm adapting that for this group today called Your Authority to Heal. So the first authority to heal of the 5 is that Spirit has called you. That something inside you says, there has to be more to life than the one I've been living. There has to be more to the world than the world I've been living in. There has to be more to helping people than the ways I've been taught I'm supposed to help. Something inside me says, I want to serve. I want to make the world a better place. And that spirit that calls you from inside out has given you very clear indications. Maybe you want to be a Reiki practitioner, or a life coach, maybe a medical professional, maybe an artist, a singer, a dancer, a writer, a teacher, an entrepreneur. There are seeds that God plants in your heart and your mind. And those are not random. It's no accident that you dream about being a healer, being a teacher. No accident that when you see somebody teaching or healing, you think, oh, I'd like to do that. No accident that when you see a world change agent like Elon Musk or Stephen Jobs or somebody else who really has big ideas about what the world could be, that you say, oh, I like that. I'd like to do something like that. Maybe I'm not going to do it on such a grandiose scale, but I can do it in my own way. So Spirit has called you. Do not attempt to ignore or deny or override that longing, that passion, that expression in your heart. That's a good topic, isn't it? In the Bible it says, would God bring to the point of birth and then not deliver? In other words, God doesn't tease us. God doesn't give us visions and then clamp down on them not happening. If God gives you an idea, God will give you the ways and means through which it will come true. Your second authority to heal is that people need help. There are many, many people who are suffering at this time on the planet. There are a lot of people who have physical illnesses, emotional illnesses, financial fears, relationship troubles. And so when there's a longing on the planet for transformation, and the first thing I say to people say, who am I to be a life coach? I say, well, there are lots of people out there who need help. If you could help one of them, or a few of them, or many of them, would it not be worth it, even before you're perfect? And if you could relieve somebody's suffering, and I say, think about the people in your own life who've helped you stop suffering. People who have been kind to you, compassionate to you, made you laugh, touched you kindly, massaged you, supported you, listened to you. If you can be somebody like that to somebody else, would that not make your life worthwhile? So look around you. There's a lot of suffering, especially at this moment. There's a lot of people on the planet who are in fear and anxiety and confusion. And if you could, in your own way, whatever that is, help them lighten their burden. I think George Eliot, the British novelist, said, what are we here for, if not to make each other's lives easier? So don't use the idea that I'm not perfect yet as an excuse to not step forward and claim your role. That's an ego trick. Or later, after I get my marriage together, after I get my prosperity together, after I get my body together. No. Actually, through helping and serving and healing, that will help you get your body and your marriage and your finances together. When you're in the healing consciousness, then miracles happen to you because the healing has to go through you. Your third authority to heal is that when you do personal growth work on yourself, you build a muscle, you build a connection to source that not only empowers you to help others, not only gives you the right to help others, but gives you the responsibility to help others. All the work you've done on yourself has been leading up to you being a planetary change agent, or at least a community change agent. And, people who've gone through alcoholism are perfectly qualified to help people struggling with an addiction. People who've had relationship issues and made some progress on them can really help others who are at an earlier stage of the path. People who've had a certain kind of physical healing and found their way to wellness, they are in the best position to help others who are trying to find the same path. Even if you're not a medical doctor or an alternative doctor, if you've had success in improving your own life physically, emotionally, financially, how many people have had big time financial troubles and they've made a turnaround and they had miracles and it changed their life? Well, when you are helped, then you have to help. Now, a lot of you are familiar with Joseph Campbell. I mentioned him a couple of times. He's the source of the movie Finding Joe I mentioned. Go to YouTube and watch it. I'm in it. It's a good movie. So he talks about the hero's journey. He says that when you face and conquer a demon, or you face a challenge and handle it, you now have a gift that you must return to the community to deliver. The hero's journey does not end when you conquer your own issues, because now you have to come back to the community and teach. It is your responsibility. So any personal growth work you've done on yourself adds up to your authority to help. Now, there's a lovely story about the artist Pablo Picasso. And the story goes that in the late 1950s, a woman was shopping at an open air market in Nice, and she saw Pablo Picasso. She said, "Is that you?" He said, "Yes." "Oh my God, you are my idol. I've been following your paintings for years. To meet you in person." Oh, and she just almost fainted. She said, "Well, is there any way you would do a sketch for me? I know it's a bold question, but would you be willing to sketch me?" And he looks her up and down. He says, "Sure." So he happened to have his pad and charcoal, and they went off and they sat down at a sidewalk cafe. And she said, "I'll pay you whatever you want. I don't care. Whatever you want it's worth." He said, "Fine." So he sits for 15 minutes and he does a sketch of this woman. And he turns it to her. He says, "There." She goes, "Oh my God, a Picasso of me. This is the greatest day of my life. Please tell me, what is your fee?" And she took out a checkbook. He said, "Well, that'll be $5,000. Now, $5,000 in 1959 was a lot more than it is now. So she's stunned. She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She said, I know I said I would pay you, but I had no idea it would cost $5,000. But sir, respectfully, this only took you 15 minutes. And he shook his head and said, "No, my dear." He says, "You don't understand." He says, "This took me 80 years and 15 minutes. Meaning that every experience he had ever had led up to him imbuing his consciousness in that sketch. All of his divorces and marriages and children, and ups and downs and financials. I don't know what his life was, but I'm sure he had hard times. So his hard times and his exuberant times all added up to the person he was at that moment, which was imbued in that short sketch. So everything that's ever happened to you has made you the person you are, and you are now qualified to pass your learnings along to others. Not only are you qualified, but you're responsible. Now, your fourth authority to heal is that the universe wants to prosper you for doing what you love. In other words, the way the system is set up is that you do something you love, you help people, and the universe pays you. Unfortunately, we have that all twisted. We've been taught by people who do not understand prosperity, and they taught you, well, the more you bust your butt, and the more you struggle, and the more you sacrifice, and the more you do things you hate, the more you deserve to be paid. No, that's not it. What kind of God would set up a universe where the only way you be rewarded would be through suffering? No, the way it really works is you do things you love, you help people, they thank you, and the universe supports you for doing things that come from your passion and your aliveness and your joy and your creativity. So when you serve and you give healing, it could be teaching kindergarten, it could be dog sitting, it could be being a veterinarian. There's a million ways you can heal. That when you really give service through ways that you enjoy, the universe will send lots of money and lots of support and lots of love and lots of relationships your way, because you now are aligned with Source and God is flowing through you automatically, organically, naturally, and consistently. And your final authority to heal is that you have unique gifts that no one else has. Just like a fingerprint or a snowflake, no two alike, or a crystal. And there is nothing new under the sun. There's no new truth. Solomon said that thousands of years ago. There's nothing new under the sun. You are not inventing new truth. You are taking truth that's always existed and always will, and packaging it and speaking it in your unique voice. So when I wrote my first book, The Dragon Doesn't Live Here Anymore, I just said what I had to say and had fun saying it. It was a unique, passionate, creative offering. And then it became popular. And it was in bookstores. You remember they had these things called bookstores? And I looked on the shelf, and there was my book, alphabetically between Chopra and Dyer. And I started looking at all these self-help books. I thought, God, I'm not the first guy to write about stuff like this. These people are all saying the same thing. And I asked Spirit, why is my book successful? And the Spirit said, because you have a unique voice. You grew up with certain conditioning and histories, and you had certain challenges that you had to overcome, and you had certain parents, and you lived in a certain part of the world, and certain religious upbringing, and it said that, you have such a unique voice that a certain segments of the population will hear you in ways that they don't hear others. And of course, the other teachers have their people as well. So don't give me this story that, everybody said it before, I have nothing new to say. Well, there's nothing new to say, but there's a new way to say it. And you will be endeared to people. Everybody has a unique style. And when you acclaim your unique style and you recognize, hey, I might not be perfect, I might not be Tony Robbins or Wayne Dyer, but I have something cool to say. I'm a funny guy. I'm a funny gal. I have interesting experience. Let me package this. And then suddenly you're off and running because you're yourself. And what does healing come back to? Being yourself, and when you are yourself, the God that created you to be yourself will work through you. When you are authentic and unique to your own path, then you're the most open and most available for Great Spirit to work through you. That's the way the game works. 5 authorities to heal. They all come together and they all work. Before we close, I do want to remind you that I will be starting, speaking of unique teachings, my LEAP program, Leading Edge of Accelerating Prosperity, beginning of June. It goes through 8 weeks, an 8-week webinar series. And I'm telling you today because there's a cutoff for early bird registration. If you register today, May 7th, you get a big discount on early bird. So go to my website, Alan Cohen, and check that out. So here we are. We are emerging from the pandemic slowly with some ups and downs. And this is your big opportunity to go out and show up as yourself. And the world is waiting for your healing. Don't delay. Don't withhold the gifts you came to give, because the blessings that will come through you have never come through anybody else and will never come through anybody else just like you. You are the gift that you came to receive, and you are the gift that you came to give. And if you want to say out loud right with me right now, and so it is. So it is. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow. I love you lots.